Absolute fireworks. Listen, last night I wish I could have been here, but there was no way I was missing night two. You got The Beast versus Obafemi. You got Roman versus CM Punk. All kind of big matches across the fight card. I would not have missed this. You couldn't have paid me more to not be here. Let me tell you something. I just saw Brock Lesnar for the first time in a long time look angry. But watch the pre-show. I got more on that. Trust me.
So Brock Lesnar retires at WrestleMania 42. Dan Cormier, who's sitting there ringside, he reacts. And this is the fight that we never got, guys. We never got to see Brock and Dan Cormier actually fight. So very, very interesting, guys. Brock Lesnar, it's the end of an era. End of an era, guys. What a legend. Former UFC World Heavyweight Champion, former WWE Champion. Now, what if I told you that that's it? That's the final chapter of Brock Lesnar. We're not going to see him again in the ring. And the biggest fight that actually never happened is actually suddenly back in the conversation. What? What is going on, guys? What is going on? Anyways, guys, let's talk about it. Welcome back. Welcome to Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. Here we try to break down all the craziest, latest trending stories when it comes to the world of combat sports, primarily the UFC, WWE. And guys, this is a doozy. All right. So here's kind of what went down. And trust me, guys, this is a lot bigger than just a WWE retirement moment, because Daniel Cormier, who happened to be sitting ringside at WrestleMania 42, his reaction was everything. If you watch Dan Cormier, that his expression told you everything you needed to know. Because at the end of this video, I'm going to try to explain why Brock Lesnar walking away might actually close the door on probably one of the most valuable fights the UFC never made. We all know that Brock, his time is coming, okay? We knew he was going to be retiring soon. I actually thought he might be coming back into the UFC, but at 48 years old, he's kind of getting up there in age. But WrestleMania 42 at Las Vegas, at the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, did not disappoint. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about the card and people saying this, people saying that, but Brock Lesnar lost to a rising star in Obafemi, and what a matchup that was, guys. I mean, a lot of people are talking about the sheer sizes of these two guys, but here's what a lot of people are not talking about. It's about what happened after Brock and Oba's fight. So after the fight, you see Lesnar sitting in the squared ring, okay? He starts unlacing his boots, he starts taking off his gloves, and then he leaves them all behind right there in the center of the ring. And if you know anything about combat sports, that's not just symbolism. He's making a statement, guys. He's telling you that he's hanging them up. That's called retirement language. All right? And front row, you got the legendary UFC champion himself, Dan Cormier, and he's watching it all live. And you can literally see Dan Cormier standing up and shout, "Come on, Brock! Come on!" Like, he's shouting at Brock, trying to get him to not retire, okay? This wasn't just a fan reaction, guys. This was history reacting to itself. Absolutely incredible. And if you guys are not 100% familiar with the whole context of what kind of happened, or the relationship, shall I say, the history between Brock and Dan Cormier. Well, let me kind of shed some light on that. Let me rewind for a second here, guys, because back in 2018, UFC 226, Dan Cormier just knocked out Stipe Miocic, all right? In the first round, he became a double champion. I don't know if you guys remember that. That was UFC 226 in 2018. Dan Cormier becomes a double champion. And then, all of a sudden, you see Brock Lesnar walking into the cage full of fury, and they shove each other. And then words were exchanged. And the crowd went in a frenzy. The crowd goes crazy. That was such an iconic moment, because that was supposed to turn into a mega super fight. And I'm curious as to why that never went down. Cormier versus Lesnar. The champ versus the former champ, now WWE superstar. Sport versus spectacle. The headlines were just writing themselves, guys, that night. But unfortunately for us, that fight never happened. So why? Why did it not happen? This is lovely. So Cormier said to himself that the WWE got him back. And he didn't just say that casually, right? I mean, like, we're talking contracts in the range of, like, you know, $6 to $10+ million a year. Not to mention performance incentives and bonuses and merchandise sales and all kinds of other sponsorships. So at that point, the UFC wasn't just competing for a fighter. They were essentially competing with an entire entertainment conglomerate, the machine as we know it as a WWE. All right, so a lot of things were different. The relationship between the UFC and WWE was not like what it back then was not like what it was, like how it is, now, right? Obviously, they're quite intertwined. But this is where things kind of got a little bit interesting, right? Because Brock Lesnar, the Beast Incarnate, was just another crossover name, all right? Brock, I mean, just think about this, right? Within just 3 UFC fights, and 4 total, he became heavyweight champion. He became the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Right? Just think about that. Let that just sink in for a second, guys. This was Brock Lesnar coming from WWE into the octagon, and he wreaked havoc. That doesn't just happen. Dana White even said that that's quite impossible to do. CM Punk tried it. I tried it twice. It didn't work out for him. But Lesnar did it, and he was successful. Now, he didn't win all his matches, but he did some damage, guys. He did pretty good. And that created a very, very unique kind of leverage for the Beast himself, right? I mean, he didn't actually need the UFC. The UFC kind of needed Brock, because wherever Brock went, wherever his name was thrown, it created headlines. It created a lot of curiosity, created a lot of hype. And when you have a lot of hype, guys, that creates currency in the world of combat sports, especially in the world of MMA and UFC. So a lot of people are asking this question. If Brock Lesnar truly just retired, then why did Daniel Cormier look like he still wanted that fight? Because this might not just be about the past. There could be something else kind of spinning in the backgrounds. And I mean, this might be about what could potentially still happen. Now, I highly doubt that, because I'm talking about from another side of the fence. This is what some folks are saying. A lot of people are saying that Dan Cormier was actually calling out Brock Lesnar, not actually wishing him adieu, right? So let me try to break this down. Let me try to simplify things here, right? Dan Cormier recently said that Lesnar would have been probably one of the safest fights for him. Just imagine this. That's an incredulous, that's such a wild statement when you think about it. Dan Cormier, I've got a lot of respect for Dan Cormier, but if he thinks that Brock Lesnar would have been the safest, easiest fights for him, no. Because on paper, Lesnar is massive. He's explosive. Guys, he's not just a former WWE champion, he's a former NCAA wrestling champion. But we've seen what happens when he faces elite level pressure. Look, Cain Velasquez, I mean, he exposed that blueprint years ago. Now, Cain, on the other hand, is just a beast himself, right? He's built from a different set of cloth. Now, Cormier, same kind of champion, same kind of style. I would think that Cormier has a little bit of a sharper in-ring or in-octagon type of IQ. So from a competitive standpoint, Cormier liked that matchup. But guys, from a business angle, from a business standpoint, that's so refreshing. From a business standpoint, that fight would have been absolutely explosive. That would have sent the UFC to the moon and back. Pay-per-view gold. All right? So mainstream attraction, mainstream attention, global attention, WWE fans crossing over, UFC fans tuning in. It's the exact type of fight that the UFC doesn't really get often anymore, but to do it one more time, that would have probably made a lot of sense. Now, we're talking about something that happened about 8 years ago. So what happened? Why didn't it go down? Dan Cormier is in a different position right now. All right? And I don't think he would come back to fight. And then you got to start peeling back the layers, guys, because it is about layers, because there's a deeper layer when it comes to all of this. Brock Lesnar represents something that we really don't see often today. He's a true power player. He's somebody who can walk between promotions. He commands a lot of respect. He commands huge money, and he's still very relevant, guys, without even fighting as consistently as he has been in the past. He's even teased a fight with John Jones, if you guys remember that. I mean, he came back in 2016 to face Mark Hunt. You know, Mark Hunt at UFC 200. And, I mean, that fight was later ruled to a no contest. Mark Hunt he's a pretty bad dude, man. He's one tough guy you don't want to mess with. But, I mean, look, even that comeback, it's still, like, the attention that it drew was beyond proportion. It was massive, guys. And that's not normal hype. That's actually really good hype. And that's a kind of leverage that fighters wish they had in today's day and age. Because again, I can't think of anyone who has that capability, that ability to actually draw that kind of same hype. And I mean, these are some of the things that modern fighters are still trying to figure out how to do today. And they can't crack that code unless we get somebody like Gable Stevenson or somebody. But see, Gable Stevenson, yeah, he did WWE, but he didn't have the same level as hype as Brock Lesnar. So if this is truly the end of Brock Lesnar, then it's not just a retirement, guys. This is essentially the closing of a very unique chapter in Brock's book, Brock's career, and in combat sports, right? I mean, this is a chapter where may happen every now and then. That door opens up between the two different sports. This is where you kind of shift the balance between promotions. And there was this kind of weird parallel, you know, like it almost like think about it, like where a single fight announcement could change the entire business landscape. It almost felt like a portal opened up between these two worlds. And that's how we were able to see guys like Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, kind of freely traverse. I mean, even Ronda Rousey. But more importantly, guys, it's the end, I think, of probably one of the biggest what if fights that we never got. Cormier versus Lesnar. And just imagine if that ever happened, if that ever came to fruition. Because judging by that reaction, cage side, Daniel Cormier still thinks that story isn't fully finished. I mean, Daniel Cormier, again, I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's probably one of the greatest. But there's still that history between him and John Jones. That's also a chapter that's not finished. And now Lesnar. Anyways, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Do you truly feel that at Brock's age of 48 that he is retired for real? Or more importantly, actually, do you think that the UFC missed out on probably one of the biggest fights in history? I think both. I think both. I mean, I 100% don't know what's going to happen with Brock Lesnar. I mean, he has a farm in Saskatchewan. His kids are doing really well. His daughter's in wrestling. His son's like a professional hockey player. And he's enjoying he's enjoying farm life. He's enjoying just a simple life. But does Brock really need the money? I don't know. Brock's made a lot of money. Does he need any more? I don't know. He seems pretty humble and content with what he has. But this whole thing with Brock Lesnar's retirement, you know, at WrestleMania 42, I mean, it has people like myself and a lot of fans questioning what's next. And when you factor in Dan Cormier, who happened to be sitting there ringside at WrestleMania watching Brock retire, you got to wonder. You got to wonder what Dan's thinking about. I mean, Dan's a color commentator now for the UFC. He's a legend behind the mic. I almost think he's been doing that job forever. I almost forget that he was a legendary Hall of Famer UFC fighter. But, I mean, wow. Like, you know, like, what do you think is going through his mind? So anyways, guys, lots to think about. I want to hear from you guys. Were there missed opportunities here? Do you think Lesnar really, truly is retired? You think the UFC got it wrong? Or do you think the UFC did it right and walked away from Brock when they had to walk away from him? Everyone always asks, is there one fight left in Brock Lesnar? I'll let you answer that, guys. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys for sticking around. If you guys want to support this video, if you scroll down below, you'll see something that says thanks. If you click on that, you're more than welcome to choose whatever denomination you're comfortable with. It helps us out. It helps us continue to keep these videos alive and keep them going. We enjoy what we do, and we enjoy you, more importantly. So thank you, guys. Thank you for the opportunity. Please hit the bell notification so you guys never miss a beat, and smash a like and subscribe. And the pleasure was all mine. I look forward to catching you guys in tomorrow's video.